All right, I am in Las Vegas this week, and Vegas is a place where there are thousands of comedians coming through all the time. Every week there's, thousands.
Homeless, just sitting on the streets waiting for a gig, waiting to take my room over.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I booked my flight here, and this is the first time here since I've started our little show here at Come to Papa. I'm Tom Papa, by the way. When I booked my flight, there was one person that I wanted to sit down and interview, and that is Carrot Top.
We couldn't get him today.
We almost lost him.
If I'm funny in this, that's Carrot Top. If I'm not funny in this, so we'll edit out somebody else's name.
We almost actually did lose Carrot Top.
Did you? Yeah, getting up here. Yeah.
We actually snuck into the Jerry Seinfeld suite at Caesars, but we didn't have a key. And had to come up the stairs.
We should probably hurry before he gets here. Nothing worse than him walking in and we're in his room.
Why are you in my room?
Why are you in my room? Where's your other sock hat? This is crazy. That's the worst impression, by the way.
It's terrible. Those are two lame Seinfelds.
Hey, yeah, I know fun too. It's always fun to do it in front of them, isn't it? Though?
Oh,
when
absolutely.
you do the impersonation of them in front of them, they're always like, I sound like that? And you're like, what kind of?
I don't really sound like that, do I?
I don't like that.
Well, as it's kind of not even needed to give you an intro here, Mr. Carrot Top, but
what the hell?
For the people at home, after exploding nationally and touring for years in colleges and then taking his tour nationwide, Carrot Top built a really huge following, and now has landed in Las Vegas, where he performs 6 nights a week at the Luxor. His show is big, it's high energy, it's innovative, hilarious, and the most impressive in his form of comedy that you will ever see. And Carrot Top, when you are working on a new joke, and we all have those comics who we want to impress, like in the back of our minds,
sure.
How important is it that you impress me? Like when you're developing a new bit?
You mean you another comic, or
just me as Tom Papa?
Yeah.
Yeah, like how often do I come up in when you're creating?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's ever been a day where I didn't think, what are you going to think of this? Because No, I stopped caring about what comics years ago, because they literally like Carrot Top prop comics. I'm already in the gutter in the crapper and like prop comics. Actually below mine's.
Did you know? I mean, I think that intro is no BS.
Mm-hmm.
You are hilarious. And when I was first starting to come to Vegas, I was playing at the Tropicana, that marathon. I'm sure you've had a lot of comedians that come by from that gig, because they're here forever doing 2 shows a night in front of nobody.
That's really, we hang out with a lot of other comics that work that club. We actually do get together.
And I came in and watched you, and it was one of those times when you watch somebody and you're blown away, you're laughing your ass off, and then you're back in your room depressed because you just saw such a great show.
You're out of your mind right now. Right?
No, it really happened, because when you would do the thing, what always stood out in my mind because I was my first times in Vegas, and you can't sleep because the light always comes through the blinds, and you have that great joke where you would have the shaft of light shoot through the theater right into your eyeball.
And that's a good example of a joke that's actually, that whole joke is a lighting cue, which is weird. People say, what do you mean? That's if the lighting cue isn't right, it's not funny, because it's not really a joke that's verbal, it's visual.
Right.
So it took forever to get that light to do that, and so it never worked. And so I got it and with the lighting guy the other night, funny you should say this, I was doing that exact joke, and I said, this is what it's like, and the light's over here, and it ruined the whole thing. I said, the light is, and I had to roll over, I go see the lighting guys, and crack. It's supposed to be, So it's interesting. There's a lot of jokes that I come up with that aren't really, that rely on a sound cue or a lighting cue.
Yeah. No, when you started off doing stand-up, you came up from Florida.
Out just doing stand-up. I didn't do props.
And it was with another guy I read? He was
a guy that helped me. He was like my roommate, / he wanted to be, I don't know. We just kind of, he's like really just a guy that said, I'll support you and kind of go around with you to clubs.
Oh, that's cool.
And then when I started doing the props, it was like, perfect, now I got a guy to carry this shit. So
Was it in Florida?
It was in Florida, yeah.
Yeah?
And so
how old were you?
I was probably 23. 23.
So after college?
Yeah, right in college. The last year of college, I started kind of experimenting with it at an open mic. And then,
did you first start doing straight stand-up?
I just did straight stand-up, talk about the school, talk about parking at a school and all, taking your books back and whatever all the jokes were back then.
Yeah.
And then I went to the Comedy Corner, the real club, where all the people like the Seinfelds and Foxworthys and whatnot played. And there were real comics. I mean, it was an eye-opener. I went up, and it was an open mic, and I went up, and I was like, wow, this is, I tanked it. I was like, because the guys that performed it were like sharp, they're comics, they had material. And I was just I had something, according to the woman that ran the club. She said, "You have something. I'm not sure it's funny, but you have a good quality. There's a charm about you, but you need to come up with some jokes." And I said, "Oh, your jokes were not funny. They really were geared to the college crowd."
Right.
And so I started getting more generic in a sense of what I thought. So I started traffic and old people driving. So I thought of a prop. It was a hat that had the old lady's head on top of it on a spring. So when you drove, you'd see their head. And it was just a simple joke, but it was a good Florida joke, and everybody there just witnessed that driving in. Compared to it.
Yeah.
So that's how the props started.
So it just killed right off the bat.
Yeah, that one did. Then I went back to just words, and I ate it again. So she's like, if you could get more of those visual things, you're onto something.
Right.
So I literally went back, and I started thinking, okay, I'll get a boot, and I'll put a kickstand on it so you don't fall down when you're drunk. Just anything that hit my brain. And then I had like 10 props.
Yeah.
And so... yeah, it was nice. It kept building, more and more. And then finally, I realized the more shit that I built, the longer I could do. So if I built like 70 props, I could middle. You know? And the middle was more. Yes, it's like, if you could get up at like 70 more props, you could get $200.
Right.
And Larry the Cable Guy, believe it or not, Dan Whitney was the first one that gave me a gig where I featured. I did the middle spot.
Really?
I want to say...
had he seen you?
I want to say it was it was a headline act. It might have even been headlining. He'd seen me before. He was the MC at the Comedy Corner.
Right.
And he was one of my those guys you could always go to that liked what I did.
Yeah.
All the other comics were like, it's Carrot Top, he's got props, he's horrible. He was like, no, it's funny. He just pissed because he did good,
Right, exactly.
And I would do okay because it was different. It was visuals, props.
Yeah.
And so he called me out of the blue and said, "What are you doing like tonight at 8 o'clock in West Palm?" And I said, "Nothing. I'm Carrot Top. I have nothing to do." And he said, "Well, you want to do this gig for me? It's at this bar. I pay me $200." And I went down there. And I remember like it was yesterday. He called me and said, "Dude, you killed. They love you. Thank you. I thank you." And we've been friends probably forever since then.
Wow. Was he Larry the Cable Guy at that point?
No.
He was Dan Whitney?
He was just Dan Whitney, yeah.
Really?
The Cable Guy kind of just, I don't know, you probably know too, was just a one little character bit that turned into his whole
He would just do it on radio, right? He would call in.
Yeah, just the radio thing.
Yeah.
He started doing it on stage, and then he's like, wow, I could probably make billions with this.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Well, that's awesome. So he kind of brought you out. Were there other people that...
He didn't bring me out. Elton John brought me out. But, no. He was one of the first guys that really, honestly, as a comic, that not only believed in me, but he also gave me that. I remember that. It was that gig.
Yeah. Those are so important.
And then I could say to him, to anyone else, where did you work? I said, I worked that club. It was It was a hell bar too. It was like pool tables and dancing, and you stood there and told your jokes, and so to do well in that environment was good. So when you, I mean, it sounds like it was really like inspired. Like you just started, if I get more props, I get more. My act grows and stuff, and so it's kind of like you wanted that. You wanted to have just a longer act. You wanted to have more things, and then now
But it also seems like it was kind of a free, kind of creative thing. You were just having fun throwing all this stuff together.
Absolutely.
Did you have any idea, like when you said that some of the straight comics would be like, "Oh, that's a prop guy"? Did you even know that there was?
I had no clue when I started. When I went up there, I thought it was kind of cool that I didn't do what they did. I thought I'd get admiration and think like, "Wow, cool! He's not going to steal my act."
Yeah.
And I couldn't be accused of stealing because who's going to
steal a work boot with a
who's going to steal
kickstand?
Right. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, somebody already has that one.
Right.
So it was like, I thought they'd be even better. These comics aren't threatened by me because I'm doing my own thing. And I've kind of created my own little niche.
Right.
In a sense of because there's been a lot of prop comics in the day, but the way I was doing it and the way I still try to approach it is where it's not a pun.
Right.
So it's more of an invention, I always call them, like mini inventions,
Uh-huh.
Something that can actually be broken down into, almost like when I would think of a Seinfeld or a Papa joke.
Yeah.
I would think about something that could actually be verbally broken down into a stand-up could say.
Oh, interesting.
Like I had paper cups and string. And
right.
It was, I think one of my most innovative ones at the time was just 2 cups and string, and I said, they have to update this to today's kids, so another cup would come out for call waiting. And then 3 cups come out, hey, I got a conference call. And then call forward, I'd throw it, and then I had a clear cup, it's caller ID, I can see you pick up. It was really clever.
Yeah.
But I thought there's a joke that even like a Seinfeld or a Carlin could actually say verbally and be funny.
Right. Oh, interesting.
And Gary Shandling, of all people, was one of the first big-time comics that actually, I was on the Tonight Show, and he did his thing. And he stuck around just to watch because he said, I want to see this Carrot Top guy.
Yeah.
And I remember I saw footage of it. He's sitting there and he's laughing, and I sat down with him and he said, You're the only reason I stayed. I never would have stayed to watch this. That was great. And
wow.
We talked about how I had a plate for bulimics. It was a plate with a toilet so you could eat and throw up. It was so retarded, but
right.
He was like, that was really good. I like that. Now that's really clever.
That's awesome.
It's kind of cool when you get a comic that you admire to enjoy. Like you just
sure.
started off this whole question about that. Do you think about what comics sometimes think, and you want to do well?
Yeah,
in the back of your mind, you know.
Yeah, there's that weird thing because there's definitely, and I think we all go through it.
Yeah.
I think that I started out in New York, and when I showed up, there were all these guys that were really dark, edgy guys,
right?
And everybody I came in and was just doing my thing, and those guys didn't like it because it was kind of like family and clean and that kind of thing.
Right.
And I would start. It's a difficult thing because you're questioning yourself as an artist.
Absolutely.
To fit in with this group who they have their own insecurities. They're not. It's not that they really don't like you. It's that you just went on in front of them. Yeah. You killed. And they don't like it, and
we should have spoke a long time ago. Now I feel better about it.
No, but really,
it's fixed my whole problem because that is the truth. Yeah,
it really is. It's a difficult
I think
thing.
Even to this day, I still when I think of something and I write it or build it or whatever the heck it is, I do in the back of my brain think, oh, is it clever enough to be like? I don't want to just put crap out there. I really do want to be proud at the end of the day.
Sure.
Of the act. So if someone does come to the show and they say, yes, I Carrot Top, it was kind of cheap laughs and it was kind of hacky.
Right.
So you still want to do something that's clever.
Yeah.
It's not really.
I think you really want to
always want acceptance from your peers.
Peers, exactly. And then when you start to realize that usually your perception of what the world is thinking is always wrong. Like that Shandling thing. It's like one-on-one. Like I was with Jerry, and we were here in Vegas a year ago, and we were going for a burger at the right next to your place.
Burger Bar, yeah.
Yeah, Burger Bar next to the Luxor.
Right.
And Jerry said, and he wouldn't mind me saying this at all, when we got out, he goes, I would love to meet Carrot Top one time just to tell him how great I think he is, because I know he catches shit from some people, and he said, and he should know how, and he should. I just want him to know how.
I've always wanted to meet him, actually. By the way,
but
you're listening, Jerry,
we are in your room.
Yeah, we are in your room.
You could leave him a note. Leave him a note. But there is that thing, like one-on-one, especially with people that are secure with where they are, they can kind of appreciate, anything.
It's taken a long time to get, like you said, I'm still, even at this stage, people say, well, now you really care. You still do. I don't care who you are. I think you still care. I mean,
sure.
Going back to what we were talking about Jay Leno, he's so fragile.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's Jay Leno, and he's got the Tonight Show, and he's like, really, he's a billionaire. He do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But when you talk to him, or even when you read things in books about it, he's so he's like, there's some comic said something bad about him. He called the comic and said, "Why are you saying that?"
All the time.
What do you mean? I didn't do anything. So.
Yeah.
I think no matter where you go on stage, it's just who you are. Some people, you're born with a thick skin, you don't give a shit at one point. I'm one of those that always care what people think.
Yeah,
Not
can't.
You so much, but other people I really care.
It's the people that like you really don't care about. It's always the ones that are. It's like the girl in the bar who won't look at you. Like, why can't I get her to like me?
Yeah, exactly. True.
You're listening to Come to Papa on Sirius XM.
You're listening to Hair Nation.
Sirius XM 99. I am here in Las Vegas with my new pal, Mr. Carrot Top.
Yeah, we're old pals, actually, right? You saw
I saw your show.
We didn't meet afterwards?
It was a quick hello.
Oh, was it?
It was a quick hello. We didn't really hang out.
That's normally how it goes. It's just they line you up in a room and you go, "How you doing?" No,
hey,
no eye contact.
You always feel so awkward. It's like, I don't want to. Can I go? No. What if he doesn't like me?
No,
I'm just going to go to my room and sit in the Tropicana. Go sit in the Tropicana.
Think about how to. Back to the Tropicana, even worse. Sorry about that.
I know, it was really rough.
I used to say that about the Luxor. I'd say, to the Excalibur.
Right.
Because they still are connected, but they're owned and everything. They operate together.
Uh-huh.
And so I used to always say, it's the shithole. It's a nice shithole, but the shithole, and they got really upset with me because the people that work there were like, Carrot Top calls the hotel a shithole. I said it's a nice shithole, and I make it in a funny way. So now I say the Tropicana, and someone they say, you can't say that because I think that whatever.
Right, exactly. Right.
And the Tropicana now is not a shithole.
No, they updated it.
They gutted the whole thing.
Yeah, and now that I'm out of there.
Now that you're out of there, it's all new.
All splashy.
You got a nice gig here, though. My goodness, Caesars.
Yeah, Caesars. It's not so bad. You can hang out backstage and run around on Celine Dion set.
Yeah. Talk about a hotel, a lobby that has like do they have like a They have a mall connected to it.
Yeah, there's like a giant mall.
Is there a place I can grab something? Well, there's a whole mall.
there were so many times I'd run through that mall. Like, yeah. I need a belt before the show.
Celine Dion apparently, I know, right? It's perfect. Apparently I was in some store and they said, would you like to shut it down? And I said, shut what down? They said, the store. And I said, why would you shut the store down? They said, when celebrities come in, we should, just so you have privacy. I'm like, I'm fucking Carrot Top. I don't think you need to shut the store down. They're like, well, Celine Dion. I said, well, there you go. That's my example. Celine Dion, Carrot Top. You don't need to shut the store down. I can put a sign out. Carrot Top signing, and they still with me.
You're like Pete Rose outside Celine's shop.
Oh, God. You've seen that before?
Yeah.
How weird is that?
Oh, it's so bizarre.
You walk by, and he's sitting in this
Pete Rose is outside of a sports memorabilia thing.
A desk in front of him. A stack of shit for sign, and no one waiting.
Oh, it's so depressing.
There's even people like standing up there going, "Do you want to meet Pete Rose?" And I'm like, "What's going on?" So weird.
So
I
weird.
Into him. I said hi before.
Really?
And he said to Carrot Top. I said, "Oh, okay. I didn't want anything. Okay." And he did. He signed it to Carrot Top. And how you doing, pal? And he shook my hand so hard that I think it's still sprained.
And you had to give him $50.
So and I had to give him $50. And God damn, it was so weird.
How long you been here in Vegas now?
I've been here 5 years, maybe coming up a little bit more than 5 years. Yeah.
Wow.
I had MGM prior to that.
Right,
so
that's where I saw you.
For about 10 years.
Oh, that was 10 years.
That was from 90, my first time I was here in Bally's in 90-something.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 15 years in total here?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like a veteran.
Wow. You're the new Mr. Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So how long were you on the road before that? That was like
Oh, yeah.
That was your whole...
Yeah, that was my whole thing. Yeah, I started 87, 86, 87.
Okay.
And
then you started off colleges and stuff with
just anything first, just comedy zones and those little, clubs and whatnot, all the punchlines and all those places. And then, and then I got a what do you call that? College convention.
Oh, the NACA conventions.
NACA, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And I did a couple of those, and I did really well, and they had a national one in Dallas.
Right.
And that's when my life changed, forever. I remember in front of, I forget, it was like all these, it was a whole region of the first was Region 1, and the nation one was the whole,
that's the huge thing, yeah.
So
all the schools come.
Everybody, and I went up, and I had the best 20-minute or 15-minute spot I think I ever did, and it was like every school bought me.
Wow.
So I beat Harry Chapin's record, I can still say.
Really?
That was the whole thing. I was like, Harry Chapin, who's Harry Chapin? And they told me, oh, Cats in the Cradle, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So that was like...
He had the record?
That was the first, of all the most schools that had bought an act.
Wow, it was Harry Chapin. Oh, weird.
And then...
it's a long-standing record.
Carrot Top.
And then
it was a long-standing record.
Yeah.
And then I come into and I
that must have been crazy because I did a NACA convention. It wasn't a national; it was a regional one when I was first starting. I didn't even have 15 minutes of material.
I didn't say I had 15 minutes. Thank God they thought I did.
And I bombed. It was on it. It was like noon, and there was no one really there. And I bombed. And I had, after you do it, you have to go sit in it's almost like a trade show where you go and sit in the booth of your agent, and everyone else has their agent booth, and you try and make eye contact with 18-year-olds, and they'll come and take you to the school. And no one was coming up to me at all because I knew. And there was one girl. She looks over and she goes, "Oh, you have to come to my school." And she comes marching over to the booth. I was like, oh, finally, I don't have to kill myself tonight.
No.
And she goes right by me to this ventriloquist dummy next to me. It was an old ventriloquist dummy. And she goes, "Grandpa, I loved you so much." He's like, "Okay, I'll come to your school." Then I went upstairs and called my father and said, "Please, is this one?" So I can imagine the feeling that everyone there, especially at a national...
It was incredible. It was one of those things, and I was terrified going into it, just thinking that would have happened if it went the other way.
Yeah.
The whole because I was doing really well in the regional ones. I did the national one. Was like, should I do this or not?
And so, how many dates literally was that? Your whole?
It was unbelievable. It was a
couple years.
It was probably a couple years booked through.
Wow.
So I remember thinking to myself, and I would do 2 a day. Like I would do at noon in a cafeteria.
Right, those are rough.
I would drive all day and I'd get to the evening and they were rough.
Yeah.
And then get to the evening and I had a guy with me and we used to. I'd call my buddy. You might know Charlie Veracola. He helps me write and stuff. And
cool. He's a good guy.
I called him and I said, "This is when he was in his drinking days and he was sleeping until whatever." And I'd call him and I'd say, "I've already made $15,000 before you've gotten out of bed." And he's like, "Fuck you." And I was like, because I do the nooner, call him at 1:30, and he'd be like, what's going on? And I said, I've already done a show. I already made more than you'll make in a year before lunch.
Evil.
Like, fuck you. But in a funny way.
Yeah.
I still I never.
That's hilarious. No, that's great. That's great. There's nothing better than comedians that do that. I remember my friend Chuck Martin, a comedian, and he's friends with George Wallace.
Oh, yeah.
And Chuck was playing he was opening for Shirley Jones at the Claridge in Atlantic City. He was making like $200 for the whole week.
Yeah.
And no, it wasn't Wallace. I think it was Leno came walking by, Wallace or Leno, and he just kept his check sticking out of his jacket. Oh, what's that? Oh, geez, that's
weird.
Oh, that's weird. $100,000. I just made that over at
awesome.
Caesars. Comedians just love. I mean, because you can do that with other comics.
There's a guy that's really big in the South. In fact, that's where he could sell stadium out. It was James Gregory. And he billed himself as the funniest man in America. And I used to always say, wow, you got to be really confident to call yourself the funniest man in America. In fact, they used to put a rap on the Luxor, and they wanted me to have a tagline. I said, something like, but I said, just put like, I was going to put like, kind of funny or something.
Right, sort of funny.
But to put the funniest man in America, and I was like, really bad. So I worked with him. I opened for him in Greenville, North Carolina. I'll never forget this, where I was, and I did good.
Yeah.
It was in a big ballroom, about probably 1,000 people.
Uh-huh.
And he killed. And he's all southern and talks what they can understand. And he gets off stage, and I get paid. I got like, I don't know, $200, let's say, a check.
Right.
And in that check, they took out all my stuff that the people that booked me, they took out like all this. I got like $50, and I was in tears. James Gregory walks over, and he's like, "Stop, Carrot Top," and he's got a sack, literally a what do you call it, pillowcase, full, which appears to be cash. So I said, what is he saying? He's a big guy. I said, what is Santa Claus? What's with the sack? He says, one day you can get paid in cash too, like this. And I was like, that's cash?
Oh
like,
my
yeah.
God!
And I looked in there. I said, what? He's like, it was like, it'll say $50,000, but he insisted in paying cash.
Oh, man.
And I don't know if he did it just to fuck with me or if he always got cash, but he just wanted to let me know. He's like, look at this. And I never forget that. I was like, oh my God. There's a whole
bag of money. That's crazy.
So it's the same kind of thing. It's like, hey, look at me. And he just would get his bag and walk to the next gig.
Oh, it's hilarious. So what did you do? Did you get a bus and start going around?
He's no longer being sitting now.
When you got all those gigs, if you're booked out for 2 years.
What I didn't do ever, and I'm surprised I'm still alive, is that we never got a bus. I didn't even know such a thing existed.
Oh, really?
A bus. No, me and my buddy would get our van and drive, and then if we couldn't, we'd get on a plane and we'd fly.
Right.
And get on a rental, and we'd be gone for 2 months at a time.
Oh man, the routing of that must have been insane.
We used to make a joke, dartboard covered. Okay, we're going to Phoenix, and okay, Orlando.
It like no sense.
And I remember thinking they didn't care. They're just saying, "I was gone. You're in Phoenix tomorrow. You know that."
Yeah, yeah.
And then finally, after all those years, I was doing the road. I got this manager, and he says, well, who you lease your bus from? And I said, I don't lease a bus. He's like, well, how do you get it? And I told him, he's like, are you out of your mind? I'm like, what? I'm not getting on a bus. He's like, no, it's a tour bus. You get on.
Right, it has a bed.
It's like this.
Yeah. It's nice.
Seinfeld in it, but it was just like this.
TVs.
And I was like, oh, man, I could have been doing this.
How many years did you do it the other way?
Forever. I mean, forever. I can't even think of how it was horrible.
That's hilarious.
And then so it's kind of like I got moved up from coaching to first class, and then I never went back. We just had the bus and lived in the bus.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
And now we're back to this. Now I just have the permanent gig, which is nice too.
Yeah.
Go home at night.
Do you miss those days of being on the road at all, or do you like being in one spot now?
I miss the hooker stuff. That was always good. The chicks. In fact, it's funny because whenever you're on a tour bus, people always, no matter what, they just see a tour bus. People in general just go crazy, like Motley Crue's in there, and then when you pull over, and they're showing their tits. Who's in there? And they go, it's Carrot Top, and then finally the thing go down. And they go, oh, they think it's going to be something really exciting, like the Jonas Brothers are in there, and it turns out.
It's just Carrot Top.
It's Reba. It's fucking Reba's bus. Keep going. So yeah, but yeah, I miss the energy of the road.
Yeah,
a lot, because in Vegas, I think it's definitely more of a. I was thinking about this just the other night. How it's kind of a really conservative place to perform.
It is.
Which is
it's
odd.
shocking.
Isn't it shocking?
It is
I never
shocking.
put my finger on that because it's like Sin City, you'll come here to get away, to get in trouble, and wear things they wouldn't wear in Omaha.
Yeah.
But then when they get here, all of a sudden their standards are like, oh my God, there's a topless show there. This is
you realize
it's an F word.
It's very conservative. It's the general America. Yeah.
I even said I got one of the biggest laughs last night. I remember doing something that was kind of off color, and I said, these people are here just going, this is not what I thought the show was going to be. I said, I know, right? We saw him on The View. He seemed like a cute boy. And, now I've got profanity, and I got dildos and shit, so I felt really bad. Just for a brief moment. I said, the interview will be fine. You'll sleep fine.
Right.
An image of me out of your brain. But it's conservative in
it is.
sense.
How long do you do? How long is this show here?
Too long. I do like an hour and a half, maybe.
Oh, really? Wow.
But I shouldn't. I mean, contractually, I think it's 65 minutes or something contractually, but I have an opener that does like 10, and I go an hour 25.
Wow,
depends on
that's a healthy set.
Energy.
Yeah,
and it's a and there's nights it goes backwards, and you're like, holy shit, how long have we been up here? I swear to God, the clock's going backwards.
Right.
I mean, literally, I'll even tell them. I said, I picked the clock. I was like, this son of a bitch is going backwards. That cannot be already at my airline material at 20 after. I'm usually done with this and into the
right.
Like
isn't that the weirdest thing? It's such a time warp up there, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we judge how we're doing sometimes on the clock because you think if you're going through it so fast at a good click, that means you're not getting.
It must be awful.
You're not getting right.
Yeah, it's the incredible shrinking act.
Incredible shrinking act. It's so true.
Yeah,
and it does mess with your brain.
Oh, completely. Sometimes even just having a clock there messes with your brain.
I know.
Yeah,
I agree. I never used to have a clock because there never was a time limit for me.
Right. You used to do long shit, like much longer. Not much longer, but
do 2 hours.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. He would do like 2-hour shows.
Yeah,
that's a lot of time.
That's more than anyone.
What would you do? I mean, your cases now on stage are these gigantic boxes filled with stuff. What would you do when you were touring? Did you have a whole?
I had all that stuff.
The same amount of stuff?
I had more stuff probably because I had more room for it. Yeah, we had pyro.
Really?
I swear to God, yeah, we had.
What was
that? Was the best thing with having a comedian have pyro in it. It was so cool because people were like blown away. Stagehands that we went through locally would be like, I've never seen a comedy show with pyro. And I was like, right? And I used to do a whole joke about like how I infused it. Was like there's a rock and roll bit where in the show where there's actual music and all of a sudden it'd be like Kiss, and the Kiss would go and the pyro. But I had a couple of like concussion things go in the show that was just I missed that. It'd be so funny. I'd say something like, and then boom, there you go, and it would go boom, and it would actually be this big boom. People would go fuck, and they'd all jump out of their seats. But you
used to lug that stuff around?
Yeah, I did. All my crew did.
Oh, you would have another bus behind you filled with
stuff?
No,
we had the bus and we had a semi.
Oh, and then
a semi full.
A full semi?
Full.
Holy
packed,
cow.
Full. In fact, the guy that still is my guy, I'd get done, showered, I'd be on the bus watching SportsCenter, waiting. I'd look out, and they're still loading this. And then we got done. It was like just enough for a tic tac, and they'd shut the fucking.
No way.
And they called a truck pack. You actually have to go off, put that case, and then a four, and they pull 4, and it's unbelievable.
Really?
All for my stupid little act, and they worked hard.
That's amazing.
But we had a lot. I used to say all this shit for just one guy. I said it takes a lot of shit to make me funny for now. Sorry.
That's a lot of stuff.
Guess that we need a semi.
It's so funny. Comedians are so lazy. That's just why you're the anti comic in that sense. Because I know guys that won't even like bring their DVDs or whatever because it's like I'm not checking a bag.
No, that's so true. That was one of the first things comics would tell me when I first started doing this. In fact, Alan Bursky, you probably know Alan Bursky, right? Mm-mm. He was the youngest guy they get on the Tonight Show, and he was responsible for giving Freddie Prinze his roommate.
Right.
But so he's I don't think he'd mind if he was sitting here. He's an idiot, right?
Right.
So, Bursky, I'm working in a club in Daytona Beach. It was like a biker bar, and he was one of the first comics. I mean, verbal abuse. He's like, "What the fuck? Are you taking all this shit already? What are you gonna fucking drag this shit around?" And I said, "It's like taking my amp if I was a guitar player. What's the difference?"
Right.
He said, you're not gonna drag this shit around the country. And I said, "I'll have people do it for me." He goes, "Oh, nice." And then years ago I saw him. I said, I still drag all that shit around. And he's like, you were right. You told me you're going to have people drag your shit for you. I said, yeah. And he told me to put on a suit. He said, what are you fucking wearing, like pajamas? You can't wear cut-off shorts? I'm like, I said, you wear your suit. I'll wear my cut-off shorts. And so he still wears his suit. And,
that's hilarious.
But a lot of comics, that's the first thing to say. Like, what are you going to do when you're going to carry that stuff around? Like,
yeah, of course. Yeah, there's a lot of times when you think...
I got ripped on the Tonight Show from one of my favorite comics ever.
Who?
more comic actor, but he used to be a comic oh God, no.
You said he was your favorite, now you're not going to get his name.
No, you know what? Because I literally just, I know, right?
Right, whenever that happens.
He's such my favorite. God, the Albert Brooks.
Ah, I was just with his brother the other day.
Were you really?
Holy cow.
Oh.
So funny.
I just love
Super
Albert
Dave.
Brooks. Yeah, oh, that's right.
Super Dave's his brother.
I did a show with Super Dave too.
You did?
Yeah. And I did a prop, and he just busted out laughing. He came over to me. He's like, "Dad, it was a mousetrap to catch game mice, and it's a little mousetrap. It's got a little mirror ball that spins." And I said, "That way you can catch game mice." And he's like, "That is so retarded." I'm like, "I know." He's like, "Why would you even think of that?" I'm like, "I don't know." But he was very nice. But Albert Brooks was on the Tonight Show,
right?
And he starts talking about back in the day in comedy, and also out of nowhere, I'm just sitting there watching it, and he's like, it's like if there's that Carrot Top, if American Airlines lost his luggage, he wouldn't have an act. And I was like, well, no shit. I was still mad.
Yeah.
So I called the Tonight Show and got through his people and got to Jay, and I said, tell Albert Brooks that, and he's like, you saw that? And I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit. Of course, if they lost my airline, I wouldn't have an act.
Right.
It's like if the Rolling Stones gear didn't show, they probably wouldn't cancel the show.
Right, exactly.
It wasn't an insult to me.
Yeah.
But
that's hilarious.
I was like,
yeah.
Duh. I was standing there like, no shit. The guy's plates. He used to spin plates.
Right, and the plates aren't there. That's your act.
Same thing.
It's so weird. What's strange is that it becomes a thing that it's so different from what an Albert Brooks would do, or it's so different from what a straight guy in a suit would do. But because it's under the same title of comedy, they start thinking, well, we're doing the same thing, but you're not. I was with Ray Romano not too long ago, and he was telling me that when he started, he had a couple bits that he loved. One was he would juggle underwear. He would pretend he was doing laundry, and this music would come on, and he would just start juggling laundry. And another one was he took the rubber band from broccoli, that holds broccoli, and he would put it on his head.
Ray Romano did that.
Yeah, Ray Romano.
Oh, all right.
And then he would start talking, and as it would kind of creep up his head, and then when it got up to here, he was talking about like something exploding. It would explode, and then his hair would stick up like like there was an explosion. And he said he had such joy like doing those
bits?
goofy bits. And I said, well, why did you stop? Why? He goes, I don't know. You just kind of move on, and then it became the words and stuff became more what he wanted to do. But there's nothing wrong with just being pure funny.
Yeah.
Funny is funny.
Funny's funny.
Yeah,
I've always felt that too. I mean, to a degree. If you're doing,
if
you're putting rubber bands in your head, it's kind of fucking stupid. But if you're doing,
he's such a hack.
Such a hack. Fucking really? Juggling underwear? God damn it! And everyone loves him. It's interesting.
But it's true. Like there was a time I opened on the road. I forget the guy's name, and he does this act, and he pretends he's crying, and he pulls out a handkerchief, and he's drying his tears, and he keeps going with it, and it turns out it's this giant pair of underwear. It's like humongous. And I remember laughing so hard at it. It was like I was emceeing in like Mystic, Connecticut, and I was laughing so hard. In the middle act, who was a New York guy, was like, "What are you laughing at that for, dude? That's so hack." I was like, "Oh, I gotta watch."
I mean, yeah.
It's like
I knew that. That's why I'm laughing. I just really.
I'm laughing at how shitty it is.
That's funny. Laughing exactly. How I can't believe this guy's doing that.
Right. When you were growing up, were there acts that you really liked? Did you like kind of?
I always liked
slapstick acts.
It's funny. I really didn't. I didn't really like. I mean, I liked some. I liked Jonathan Winters and the Marx Brothers. They were very kind of but they were smart. But I remember Jonathan Winters just being funny, just putting a hat on his face to would kill me.
Amazing.
But I liked George Carlin. I always thought just that not only did I just like him what he talked about, but he reminded me of my father. My father and him were standing side by side. They were twins.
Really?
So I used to look at him and think how funny he was with my dad. Because my dad's pretty funny.
Is he?
And he had the same kind of angry mannerism that he would do. But Carlin was
wise guy.
Carlin was one of those guys that, and it wasn't just because every comic, you gotta love Carlin. I loved Carlin.
Me too.
I never cared, I never jumped on the bandwagon of comics because I still don't do that. There's some now that people say, oh, you don't like so-and-so. And I'm like, it's not that I don't like it. It's like I don't gravitate towards certain things. I don't really like a lot of the goofy stuff, believe it or not.
Right. Did you like Steve Martin?
I love Steve Martin.
Yeah, I liked him too.
Yeah.
That was about our age.
That was.
Yeah. Did you? Do you remember the story with Carlin when he was here?
With Steve Martin, I had when you said that. I remember there was someone that wrote something one time that ripped me, saying, something about being goofy and stupid, yet Steve Martin wasn't categorized as that. They said he was brilliant and smart.
Oh, really?
He was right. Hey, the goofy guy with the hair in his head, and he's doing game time. And they said, no, it was different because that was brilliant. It was ahead of his time. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, okay. So, okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I never want to be considered brilliant, but hopefully one time before I die, someone will say, he tried. He did something different. It was a big
there are a lot of people, though.
A big step to take that step because you don't.
I think
it's not brave. It's not. You're being brave because you know everyone in is going to.
Oh, absolutely! So. It would be so easy to stop doing stuff, I bet you there are a lot of guys who are naturally funny that's tried to play to the back of the room, try and be cool, but it was against their nature and what they really were, and you never heard from them again.
Right.
It's hard to stick to your guns and go through.
I've had young comics that come up to me. They always say, what's your advice? And I would say, just get on stage and find what is it you're going to be talking about? What's your whole shtick going to be in a sense?
Yeah.
And they say, well, think about doing. I said, oh God, don't do props. You'll never, don't fucking do it. Seriously. Why? I love what you do. No, you don't want to do it. It's the curse of hell.
Right. That and a guitar.
I was lucky that I got where I got, and now still punchline. I think my buddy says that
you're not
someone
as much
makes your punchline is fucking hack because they've been ripping on you for 20 years now. Old. I'm like, I know, right?
Yeah, it is hack.
That's really true. What the fuck?
Yeah, isn't that what Dane Cook is for?
There you go. I literally the camera guy said one time when I saw him not long ago. He said to me, he's right at the height where all this shit was going. He had some movie out.
Yeah,
and he's like, man, he says, I just took over all your shit, man. Like every time they punch in the
Larry,
they put Larry the Cable Guy instead. And I was like,
that's right.
Thank you for filling in for me for a while because my ass was starting to.
But it seems like it did affect you to some degree. Like it seems like
yeah. Like it always
rattles.
It always arouses you, but it always in a different way. If it comes from someone that you respect and admire, or it's a cheap shot, it just ripping you.
Yeah.
Then. That hurts more than if it's actually something they use it as a funny punchline.
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm in a magazine this month of In Touch magazine. There's a picture of Justin Timberlake, and it says Justin Timberlake plus me equals this guy.
Right.
And I'm like, awesome.
Right.
The fact that I'm plus Justin Timberlake.
No kidding. Exactly.
It was some, I don't know the actor's name, but I thought, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily a negative.
Please.
Rip on me,
it's always if you're making noise and you're part of the conversation, that's great. I remember doing this thing in New York. It was like a small roast for I think for Colin Quinn. We were all just but it was just like friends and. No one said anything about me. I was like, what's wrong with me? No one's shitting on me. Right. I'm not even on your mind?
That's funny. That's great. I'm right here.
Why not? So how much longer do you think you could stay in Vegas? Is there anything to playing in here that drives you a little crazy?
Anything that...
playing to Vegas?
Playing in Vegas?
In this one city all the time? Or is it kind of like you have enough...
I think... I don't know. I think it's. I would never want to go back on the road.
You wouldn't?
No, not really. I mean, we did it last summer. We went out. It was fun we had 10 days out, and about 3 of them were fun. And then it was like, we got to travel again. We got to go to this set up and a sound check and a different room and the different sounds and the different.
Yeah.
We played outside venues, inside venues. We played a place that was dirt floor. It was dirt.
Really?
And this goddamn animal ran through the show. Right in the middle of the show, just ran through the audience. And people were they didn't even move like, it's just, that happens every show. What fucking animal doesn't run through our crowd?
What kind of animal?
It was just like a goat or something. It was an usher, apparently. It was taking people to their seats, and it was a goddamn goat. And that's not a joke. I remember saying, there's a goat in here, and everyone's like, well, duh. And I just never...
Creepy. That doesn't happen at the Luxor.
No, it doesn't happen. Some nights. You never know.
Yeah.
Vegas is just a whole different beast altogether.
Yeah.
We've had people just urinate themselves because they just drink so much. They have guys just vomit.
Oh, my God.
I did a show not long ago, the show before mine, they said I said, what's taking so long to get the show started? They had to clean up this whole area because someone just
threw up
all over everybody.
Oh
my
God.
Wow. So Vegas, you see that. You see a lot of, and you get a lot of just fun, just want to talk to you the whole show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And how that works.
Yeah. Well, everyone's so drunk here. they're so drunk, and then they're in the sun all day.
Yeah.
And they just show up and start yelling.
Yeah, they're like, air conditioning, and they just love it. So.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't think there's anything really that bothers me. In fact, it's great to have this gig. I think after all these years.
Oh, my God, a blessing.
Being in Vegas and have a show that you can, every night you can kind of, like, experiment, too. Like, I want to try something tonight. I just...
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How much do you still work on the act while you're here?
I've never worked more on the act.
Really?
I don't think, and then I got here because I think it gives me more freedom to actually, because I'm in Sacramento and there's 3,000 seat on it. I'm like, should I try? I mean, it depends on what the joke is. Something current that I would have to say, hey, check it out.
Right.
But here I can just kind of work it out. Sometimes you're too ahead of the curve here because no one watches the news anymore. So you might say,
right.
Hey, how about the Tiger Woods firing his caddy? When the day it happened.
Right.
3 days later, people still have no clue. So that whole joke is out.
Right.
I say, well.
It's almost like you have to wait for people to come here who watch the news on vacation.
Yeah, in a sense,
people
or
that
you
are here.
To keep current enough where you're not going to lose them. Back in the day, it used to be the more current. I thought, like people say, "Wow, you're really on top of the game." You already had a joke about blankety blank. It just happened. Like, So I try to stay on it, even for myself. If the crowd doesn't get it, in my own head, I'm like, I'm working. The show's fresh.
Yeah, if one new joke can make you feel alive.
One new joke,
right?
Absolutely. We just added one the other night. I forgot what it was already. Just like my favorite comic, Albert. But I got done, and my crew said was, "Wow, that joke killed." And I'm like, "How come that's the only one that did like all the newest joke that I thought was going to work did the best, and all the ones that usually do good just did okay?" I'm like,
really?
I may need more new jokes.
Yeah. Well, I think they kind of sense that you
tried something,
right?
Yeah, maybe.
Do you have jokes that the same way that like written jokes? Like for me,
absolutely.
All of a sudden, it just starts leaving.
No, I don't know what. Are you kidding me? I have an hour of that. I just told my guys the other night, I said, the joke, and I would get the biggest laugh.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I don't get anything anymore.
The weirdest thing. Yeah.
It's like talking about the body exhibit. I said, yeah, that's a nice place. I said, that's fun. Walk through there eating a bag of beef jerky. I'm like,
right.
It feels bad for that guy. I said, well, at least we're doing better than that fucking guy. There was something, and it used to kill, and now I didn't get anything. It's almost like...
It's weird.
The bodies exhibit is outside the hotel,
Right, yeah. It's almost like they just kind of, I don't know, it's like fruit or something. They just all of a sudden go bad.
Yeah.
You're like,
you wonder why. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
Put a finger on it.
That's why you always got to keep creating new. Do you still make all your own stuff? Do you have any friends that help you out?
I have a guy backstage that's brilliant at building something that really is a little more... that involves engineering. It's awesome. I said, I need a...
You can give him the idea?
Yeah, I'll say it's even just a dumb one that is a purse. Because I forgot who it was that had a restraining order. It's a purse for women that have restraining order. This guy's got a built-in tape measure, so you back the fucking Fred 8 feet. I'm serious, and it was just a dumb joke, but I had the tape measure on it, just on it. And he watched the show and he's like, I can make that better. And I said, well, how do you make it better? He says, I'll build it. So he built it in last night. He built it into the purse. And it's so nice. It almost looks like it was made in a
real place.
Yeah, it's built in, and it's the same color. And I have the purse now, and I'll just go like this, and I pull the thing, and there's a built-in mechanism that pulls it back in. I'm like, okay.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. We can have actually people.
So I have a guy I know, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the kids in the sweatshop, whoever's available to build my stuff.
And what do you do when you're on stage? Because it seems, when you watch your act, it seems like you're just going case to case and pulling stuff out. But do you have like a set?
Yeah, I have a
in your head.
A format in a sense.
Yeah.
Like anybody, we all have an outline.
Yeah.
And you can kind of go, like last night I went out of order. I was going to do some redneck. I have a box of, so I said, let's just try some redneck stuff, because there's a bunch of rednecks in the front row.
Right.
And then that makes it more fun, because you're like, well, he's not talking about us. No, not you guys. These other fucking dumb rednecks.
Right.
So,
the dumb ones.
Not you guys. The other ones.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's an outline.
Right.
I try to but a lot of the words, as you say,
yeah,
the monology stuff is actually, it's really kind of. It's hard, I have to stay with, the callbacks built in, so you guys do, and monologists have. I've built in a lot of just stand-up now that I have to commit to.
Yeah.
And and remember, I'm like,
right.
What's next? Oh yeah, talking about the
right.
Yeah, it's so kind of there's an outline that I can kind of then it's sporadic if I want to go props.
Right.
I can do what I feel about.
Did you? I know you on television and that part of it. you've done a lot of guest stuff, and you've done, I think you had an animated series for a bit. Do you have any desire to go do that stuff creatively?
Yeah, absolutely.
You do?
I would love to do something.
Yeah?
Yeah. Not this ever again, but...
Well, this is all.
I would love to do I would love to do maybe an actual animated, show where I can do the voice too, maybe be a little creative.
Yeah.
Part and, come up with... I never really been a writer.
Right.
So it'd be fun to kind of not be the main writer, that's for sure, but just
right.
kind of be involved in the process of,
yeah.
coming up with the creative on it.
Yeah.
And other, films. I would love to. There's a guy that wants me to be like this bad villain in a movie, and I don't think there's even a script yet, or there's part of script, but it's
right.
pretty cool because they're like, do you have to read for it? I said, no, you're writing it for me. That's cool. So I don't have to read for my own movie. That's good because I don't want to read. I'm not reading
right.
Audition. Fuck that.
Yeah, so, exactly.
I mean, it says if I'm playing Carrot Top, I don't think I need to read this, do I? Really? Because I went in for a role one time. They wanted Scott Thompson, the other one, Kids in the Hall. Scott Thompson.
Oh,
so
that's
I go
funny.
all the way to fucking Hollywood. I mean, I was like 4 hours of traffic, and I get to the thing, and I get an elevator. Finally, get to the room, and they're like, and her just looks at me like, and I'm like, why are you looking like you're shocked that I'm here? And she's like, are you here for? And I said, to read for whatever. She's like. She goes back, and the lady in there, she's like, I can hear her say, Carrot Top's here. like the Carrot Top. She walks out, she's like, oh my God, that's so nice to meet you. And I said, nice to meet you too. And I'm like, sorry, I'm a little late. I was, in the thing. I was going to read this part. She's like, you here to read? And I went, yeah. Scott Thompson? She's like, Scott Thompson. And I go, Scott Thompson. She's like, I just see
it all come.
Oh, and I said, is it the other Scott Thompson?
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I said, well, you know what? I'm fucking reading because I'm here. I don't care if you want the gay one. I'm here. I'm fucking reading. She's like, okay. And I read it. She's like, you did great. I'm like, I don't know if I did good enough, but I'm not going to just walk out. I'm here.
Right.
I'm going to read for you.
That's hilarious.
So I read for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turns out I was the gayer one. I got the role. He's gay. Karen Tucker now. So. Yeah.
So when does your gig at Luxor wrap up? How many nights? You're 6 nights a week.
2015.
2015. How great is that? I was excited.
No, we want to extend. We want more.
What?
Yeah.
That's cushy. You got till 2015. The furthest out my calendar goes is I think January 15th.
That's funny. Yeah, that part's a little scary. I mean, they
that's
look at the schedule and they go, let's look at like 2 years ago schedule or 2 years coming up, and I'm like,
yeah. What
are we doing? We have to give the hotel, the schedule for 3 years from now.
3 years from now.
That's insane.
I'm still a comedian.
I'm thinking I might want to go. Maybe to Alabama for a weekend.
Right.
So it's a little frightening, but it's also very nice to know that I have that.
Oh, it's great to know. I mean, was there pressure, or is there pressure? I mean, having your room here just to with the economy and how people,
absolutely.
Vegas kind of really fell off as far as people coming through. Do you feel like a night-to-night pressure, like I've got to fill this place?
You always have that pressure of the minute you get into this business.
Yeah.
When you're selling tickets, not when you're playing.
Right.
When you're just playing clubs. Even then, when you play clubs and they book you, like, God, I hope we did good for you guys this weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
But once you start booking yourself and you're paid by the numbers you bring in, you always have that. I'm lucky that I don't have Caesars, that room you guys are playing, to fill.
Right. How many seats is it at the Luxor?
It's like 400.
400?
We have like 4,000 here, so it's like
Right. Well, that's why they come through twice a year here, rather than 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. Like 6 nights a week. I'm doing a theater on Sunday in Long Island, and it's like 200 seats, and I'm sweating it. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to fill. It's hard to sell tickets.
It is. So it's always nice to get them in. I think that's one. I think we're lucky in the sense that we get just enough big of a theater. We get enough people that are fans that still want to come. So
yeah.
And that's another reason I think to keep it fresh, because I do a lot of repeat. You can sense the repeat people.
Do you feel like
you want to make sure?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you get the show a fresh feel all the time.
Yeah. Do you feel like Vegas, although it's such a transient place and people come through, do you feel like it has made fans more devoted to you in a way?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I do get a lot. We read the emails.
Yeah.
We get a lot of, I always saw your show, one night I said, every time you see the show, somebody said, my 9th time. I said, fuck, I didn't see the show 9 times.
9 times?
Yeah, it was something crazy.
Wow.
Just like the last time I was, the last run I was here.
That's
and I remember
great.
saying it was something like, it was something absurd. Something like, no. I said, you did not see, I saw you there, I saw you in Kansas City, I saw this fair, I saw you here, and I was like,
wow.
I go, no shit, and then somebody, I saw you 4 times, you did not. How many people have seen the show? And like almost half the.
Wow.
So it was nice in that sense. It means you must have done something good, but also the pressure's always there to make sure that it's always.
Yeah.
We're always.
Yep, always got to come up with something new. Yeah.
Our worst critic, because you say, God, they saw me in Reno and I killed, and they saw me.
Right.
So you want to make sure they don't go, I'm not going that again.
Yeah, wow, he's really fallen off.
Yeah, what happened to him?
He's just bringing out Reagan props.
That's the neurotic part of being a performer.
A performer,
yeah,
I know.
Really happy,
That's good to hear. It's good to hear because to see you so successful and you have your own theater and stuff. It's good to hear that you're suffering. It makes me feel better.
Yeah, you always. I don't think I definitely fall into the category of Letterman as opposed to Leno. I think Leno's one of those guys like, and he would tell you this too. So it's not like he would literally say. Because he's told me right backstage, he's like, my friend, did you go up there? Yeah, did you get paid? Well, then what's the deal?
Right.
You do a good job, you get paid, you get home, you get your check, and you go home.
Right.
And I'm like, Letterman, because he does a show and he goes up and then watches it for 8 hours and rips everybody apart. I'm like that. I like, fuck this show. I've gotten better at it, though. I've gotten better.
Have you?
I don't have a great spot.
Uh-huh.
It takes less and less time for me to get over it. Like, I would dwell on it for 4 days.
Right, yeah.
Now it's about... I don't know.
Until you get up
really
again.
Bad, a half hour, I'm like, you know what? This tomorrow. And it wasn't that bad. Then I started thinking, not that bad. But you're just down, you get down yourself just like anybody else because you want to have a good product all the time.
It seems like the people that are the most successful kind of have the most of that. Because I think you challenge yourself all the time.
I don't think you can be in this business and have a don't give a shit attitude. It's just no way. Eventually it's going to catch up to you. And the crowd will know that you don't give a shit.
Right, exactly.
So you have to go out there every night and be like, this is the first time I've done this.
Right, yeah.
And that's what makes it, hard. That's why, everybody's doing it probably too. So
that's great.
The singers have to go out there and hit that note. Shit, we're just telling stupid jokes.
Right.
Imagine having to sing a fucking, the Titanic theme song, which I do every other night, right?
Right.
But to hit that and fucking, you gotta, that must be tough.
Yeah. It's got to be, but
fuck her.
But
she's
fuck her.
$1 billion.
Yeah, she's so low. She has her own gift shop.
Jesus, she does have her own gift shop.
She won't even shut it down for me when I go in.
Shut it down when I go in there to get mints.
Well, this is really a treat. It was great to meet you.
And thank you.
Everybody that I told that I was coming here to interview you, other comics and stuff who have met you are like, oh, he's such a great guy. You're gonna love him. He's such a great guy. And I know that. Through the years, like as you were saying earlier, you would catch some shit and be a punchline because it was just an easy thing to go for. But I, from doing this show and meeting tons of comics in New York, LA, and all the rest of it, you're a lot more well respected than any of those kind of little pop shots may mean, and really appreciate you climbing up the steps of Caesars and sneaking into Seinfeld's room with me.
We did. It's not every day that you want to go sneak into Seinfeld's room. Sure. Is he going to be in there?
Well, have a great show.
If you had like a Porsche sitting here waiting for me, you wouldn't get mad. I brought you a Porsche.
I think that'll be downstairs.
Yeah. I'll tell him I said it so high as well. I always wanted to meet him. One of these days when you're playing here, I'll swing.
You should.
Try to swing through the back stages and.
Yeah.
Someone had mentioned to me, and it could be bullshit but I don't think it is. He was. I want to say on stage here, but someone said, "Wow, you got like Seinfeld called your name out or something." I said, "Seinfeld did when?" He said, in this show, he said something about going to see a show. He said, "Go see Carrot Top." I said, "He did?" No, he really did. I'm like, "Come on." Well, there was a thing on the episode where he did on his show Seinfeld where he was on the phone with his mom and dad.
Right.
We've been trying. I think we ever find that clip? I think we have.
Oh, yeah.
But he's on the phone and he's like, "Yeah, no, I can't go. I got to fill in for Carrot Top in Atlantic City."
Oh, really?
And I was like, that was fucking cool. And I think I have that in my reel.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know I got to film for Carrot Top. I'm like,
that's great.
So, yeah,
that's the coolest.
Met him, but yeah.
Well, continued success and
if you're ever in town too, an extended time, and you guys or does you?
Yeah, for sure.
Does you want to go get a?
Yeah, you don't really need Jerry. I've got the keys to the room.
Yeah, maybe he can buy the lunch for us, but we don't need him to be there.
Right.
But yeah, that'd be cool with you to go.
All right.
We'll exchange numbers.
Cool.
We should hug and kiss at the end of this.
I think we should, but your manager's here. I love you. See ya.
They're comics,
right?
Material, and I was just. I had something, according to the woman that ran the club. She said, "You have something. I'm not sure it's funny, but you have a good quality. There's a charm about you, but you need to come up with some jokes." And I said, "Oh, your jokes were not funny. They really were geared to the college crowd."
Right.
And so I started getting more generic in a sense of what I thought. So I started traffic and old people driving. So I thought of a prop. It was a hat that had the old lady's head on top of it on a spring. So when you drove, you'd see their head. And it was just a simple joke, but it was a good Florida joke, and everybody there just witnessed that driving in there compared to it.
Yeah.
So that's how the props started.
So it must have killed right off the bat.
Yeah, that one did. Then I went back to just words, and I ate it again. So she's like, and if you could get more of those visual things, you're onto something.
Right.
So I literally went back, and I started thinking, okay, I'll get a boot, and I'll put a kickstand on it so you don't fall down when you're drunk. So anything that hit my brain.
Right.
And then I had like 10 props.
Yeah.
And so... yeah, it was nice. It kept building, more and more. And then finally, I realized the more shit that I built, the longer I could do. So if I built like 70 props, I could middle. You know?
That's
and the middle was more. Yes, it's like, if you could get up at like 70 more props, you could get $200.
Right.
And Larry the Cable Guy, believe it or not, Dan Whitney was the first one that gave me a gig where I featured. I did the middle spot.
Really?
I want to say...
had he seen you?
I want to say it was a headline act. It might have even been headlining. He'd seen me before. He was the MC at the Comedy Corner.
Right.
And he was one of my those guys you could always go to that liked what I did.
Yeah. Right into your eyeball.
And that's a good example of a joke that's actually, that whole joke is a lighting cue, which is weird. People say, what do you mean? That's if the lighting cue isn't right, it's not funny, because it's not really a joke that's verbal, it's visual.
Right.
So... it took forever to get that light to do that, and it worked. And
I
got it and with the lighting guy the other night, funny you should say this, I was doing that exact joke,
right.
And I said, this is what it's like, and the light's over here, and it ruined the whole thing. I said, the light is, and I had to roll over, I go, see the lighting guys, and crack. It's supposed to be, So it's interesting. There's a lot of jokes that I kind of come up with that aren't really, that rely on a sound cue or a lighting cue.
Yeah. No, when you started off doing stand-up, you came up in Florida.
Just doing stand-up. I didn't do props.
And it was with another guy I read? He was
a guy that helped me. He was like my roommate, kind of / he wanted to be, I don't know. We just kind of... He's like really just a guy that said, I'll support you and kind of go around with you to clubs.
Oh, that's cool.
And then when I started doing the props, it was like, perfect, now I got a guy to carry this shit. So
was it in Florida?
It was in Florida, yeah.
Yeah?
And so
how old were you?
I was probably 23. 23.
So after college?
Yeah, right in college. The last year of college, I started kind of experimenting with it at an open mic. And then,
did you first start doing straight stand-up?
I just did straight stand-up, talked about the school, talked about parking at a school and all, taking your books back and whatever the heck all the jokes were back then.
Yeah.
And then I went to the Comedy Corner, the real club, where all the people like the Seinfelds and Foxworthys and whatnot played. And there were real comics. I mean, it was an eye-opener. I went up and it was an open mic, and I went up and I was like, wow, this is, I tanked it. I was like, because the guys that performed it were like, sharp.
Right. His show is big, it's high energy, it's innovative, hilarious, and the most impressive in his form of comedy that you will ever see. And Carrot Top, when you are working on a new joke, and we all have those comics who we want to impress, like in the back of our minds, how important is it that you impress me? Like when you're developing a new bit.
You mean you as another comic, or
just me as Tom Papa?
Yeah.
Yeah, like how often do I come up in your, like when you're creating?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's ever been a day where I didn't think, what are you going to think of this? Because no, I stopped caring about what comics years ago, because they literally like, Carrot Top prop comics. I'm already in the gutter in the crapper. No one likes prop comics. We're actually below mines.
Did you know? I mean, I think that intro is no BS. You are hilarious. And when I was first starting to come to Vegas, I was playing at the Tropicana, that marathon. I'm sure you've had a lot of comedians that come by from that gig because they're here forever doing 2 shows a night in front of nobody.
That's true. We hang out with a lot of other comics that work that club. We actually do get together.
And I came in and watched you, and it was one of those times when you watch somebody and you're blown away, you're laughing your ass off, and then you're back in your room depressed because you just saw such a great show.
You're out of your mind right now. Right?
No, it really happened, because when you would do the thing, what always stood out in my mind because I was my first times in Vegas, and you can't sleep because the light always comes through the blinds, and you have that great joke where you would have the shaft of light shoot through the theater.
All the other comics were like, oh, it's Carrot Top, he's got props, he's horrible. He was like, no, it's funny. He just pissed because he did good, you know?
Right, exactly.
And I would do okay because it was different. His visuals, props.
Yeah.
And so he called me out of the blue and said, what are you doing like tonight at 8 o'clock in West Palm? And I said, nothing. I'm Carrot Top. I have nothing to do. And he said, well, you want to do this gig for me? It's at this bar. Pay me $200. And I went down there. And I remember like it was yesterday. He called me and said, dude, you killed. They love you. Thank you. I thank you. And we've been friends probably forever since then.
Wow. Was he Larry the Cable Guy at that point?
No.
He was Dan Whitney?
He was just Dan Whitney, yeah.
Really?
The Cable Guy kind of just, you probably know too, was just a one little character bit that turned into his whole
He would just do it on radio, right? He would call in.
Yeah, just the radio thing.
Yeah.
He started doing it on stage, and then he's like, wow, I could probably make billions with this.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So he kind of brought you out. Were there other people that...
He didn't bring me out. Elton John brought me out. No. Yeah. He was one of the first guys that really, honestly, as a comic, that not only believed in me, but he also gave me that. I remember that. It was that gig.
Yeah. Those are so important.
And then I could say to him, to anyone else, you know, where did you work? I said, I worked that club. It was a hell bar too. It was like pool tables and dancing, and you stood there and told your jokes, and so to do well in that environment was good. So when you, I mean, it sounds like it was really like inspired. Like you just started, you know, if I get more props, I get more. My act grows and stuff, and so it's kind of like you wanted that. You wanted to have just a longer act. You wanted to have more things, and then now,
But it's. All right, I am in Las Vegas this week, and Vegas is a place where there are thousands of comedians coming through all the time. Every week there's, thousands.
Homeless, just sitting on the streets waiting for a gig, waiting to take my room over.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I booked my flight here, and this is the first time here since I've started our little show here at Come to Papa. I'm Tom Papa, by the way. When I booked my flight, there was one person that I wanted to sit down and interview, and that is Carrot Top.
We couldn't get him today.
We almost lost him.
If I'm funny in this, that's Carrot Top. If I'm not funny in this, so we'll edit out somebody else.
We almost actually did lose Carrot Top.
Did you? Yeah, getting up here. Yeah.
We actually snuck into the Jerry Seinfeld suite at Caesars, but we didn't have a key. And had to come up the stairs.
We should probably hurry before he gets here. Nothing worse than him walking in and we're in his room.
Why are you in my room?
Why are you in my room? Where's your other sock at? This is crazy. That's the worst impression, by the way.
It's terrible. Those are two lame Seinfelds.
Hey, yeah, that's fun too. It's always fun to do it in front of them, isn't it? Though?
Oh, absolutely.
When you do the impersonation of them in front of them, they're always like, I sound like that? You're like, what kind of?
I don't really sound like that, do I?
I don't like that.
Well, it's kind of not even needed to give you an intro here, Mr. Carrot Top, but
what the hell?
For the people at home, after exploding nationally and touring for years in colleges and then taking his tour nationwide, Carrot Top built a really huge following, and now has landed in Las Vegas, where he performs 6 nights a week at the Luxor.